He spent nearly 30 years in corporate America, climbing ladders, managing teams, and doing everything right. But deep down, Mudar Sapatwalla always knew he was meant to build something of his own.
When layoffs loomed and life offered a window, he took it, stepping out of the comfort of a paycheck and into the uncertainty of entrepreneurship.
Today, as the CEO of TeamLogic IT of HEB, Mudar shares how he turned decades of corporate experience into a business that fuels his passion, challenges his mindset, gives him the freedom he never had before.
From corporate handcuffs to business ownership, this is a story about courage, reinvention, and redefining success on your own terms. I'm Sara Waskow, and this is my colleague, Roxanne Rapske. We created this podcast to bring you everything about franchising and business ownership. Welcome to episode 107 of Unpredicted Entrepreneur. Let's dive in. Mudar, thank you so much for joining us today. As mentioned, Mudar is the CEO of TeamLogic IT of HEB, or Hurst Euless Bedford. So welcome today. We are so thrilled that you took time to join us today.
Thank you very much for having me here. It's a pleasure working with you guys and attending this. So thank you.
Absolutely. Mudar and I met through networking several months back, and he shared a story with me about how he became an owner of TeamLogic IT. And so I thought it would be great for him to share his story today on episode 107. So we always like to start with background story. So tell us a little bit about your background and work experience and kind of how you evolved into owning a franchise.
Sure, absolutely. So I come from a business family. All my cousins, my uncles, my dad, we are all businessmen, and we are a business community back in India. I grew up in Bombay. I did my computer science engineering there. And then I got an opportunity to go work in Leeds, UK for a year, and then another opportunity to come to the US. And I settled in St. Louis. And since I landed here, I've been in corporate jobs. And day one, my father has always been telling me, okay, it's good, get some experience, but remember, you got to go open your business. But looking back in terms of IT, I have done everything. Started off when it was booming, just before Y2K happened, and done everything. Started off as a developer, system analyst, systems architect, solutions architect, done all kinds of jobs in ERP systems, web development, done 3 data center moves. One was building a brand new one in Louisville, and then one in Shanghai and Hong Kong, where we kind of moved data centers, and it was really complex. That is one of the most complex projects I have done. We had 3 days to pick up everything from one place, move it to another place, and make sure it's all up and running come Monday morning. But yeah, worked with different fields in corporate America, really enjoyed my experience there. But like you said, it's always been my dream to have something on my own, and I think that comes from my family background in terms of everyone being in business. And I finally took the dive, made the jump, whatever you want to call it. The only regret I have is I should have done this 20 years back.
I hear that a lot. It's hard to, it's hard to escape, or, you mentioned you have 3 sons. It's hard to leave when you have that income coming in. But you mentioned some changes were going on in your company, so you kind of felt like that was going to be a good time.
Yep.
And so you just took the plunge and decided now is the time. I think we talk about this a lot too. It helps that you'd had that encouragement from your family and had seen the success from your family members prior. So that sometimes helps people feel a little bit more confident.
More comfortable, yeah. And the fact that you said in our prep notes that, you have to actually sit down and budget this out, right? And figure it out. Mm-hmm. So you knew you had a 2 to 3 year runway.
Yep.
Your wife is employed, and you knew that could sustain you guys. So there was a plan in place, and you knew you had that runway.
Yeah. And you got to kind of build towards it, right? And as I said, it's been on my mind to do something, and I reached that sweet spot. So again, corporate America pays you well.
Yes.
I called it the golden handcuffs, right? But you reach that stage where you have, kids are kind of at the tail end of their schooling and about to take off on their own. and you save up a little bit, you build yourself 2 to 3 years runway. I think that's very critical. Many people get into business without that runway.
Yeah.
And then they aren't able to sustain themselves. But I have enough friends who are businessmen in their own right, very successful, and they all gave me the same advice: 2 to 3 years of runway. Don't take the dive before that. And you save up for that. You manage your finance if you have an end goal in mind. And then, as you said, the corporate America climate changed a little bit. And I said, it's now or never.
Well, I really want to emphasize what you said about planning for that, because unfortunately, a lot of times when we are working with clients, they are kind of in a pinch, maybe have been laid off and things like that. So I love the fact that you, kind of had that dream and plan for that over time. So in terms of your search, you mentioned, well, tell us a little bit about how you found TeamLogic IT.
Sure.
That IT was your background. So tell us a little bit about that process.
So yeah, when I started looking for doing something I did a little bit on my own first before I went the franchising route. And yes, IT, 30 years of experience, right? I mean, I felt that I looked at other stuff too. I looked at sign business. I looked at a couple of other fields, and I'm like, I'll have to totally start from scratch and wipe away. I'll still bring my management experience to bear, right? But in terms of my technical know-how and understanding, and I have a passion for IT. I've done it my whole life. I cannot imagine being anything else or doing anything else. So I started looking for, I started off on my own, and there were some challenges there. Then I started looking for franchises of different kind. I actually talked to quite a few until I nailed down to go ahead and move forward with TeamLogic IT. I think there were certain benefits doing the franchise model versus your own. And I also had a good friend who kind of is a franchisee himself in IT services, managed services. And he gave me some good guidance and I went with it. And I think it was a good decision I made.
Out of curiosity, not mentioning any names, did you look at any other IT opportunities or just TeamLogic IT?
No, I did look at other IT opportunities, 2 more. So there were 3 in the play. I evaluated all 3.
Okay.
And I think TeamLogic, I felt the reason I went with it, so I like the corporate culture there. The second thing I liked about is TeamLogic itself. The owners network is very supportive. We don't look at each other as a competition, right? We all believe in growing together. Anytime I have a question, I'll sometimes reach out to corporate, but most of the times I'll reach out to my fellow owners. We have a whole email distribution list where people just post questions and they help me anytime. I have had owners who will, I have a new client. So we have like 330 offices all over the US, right? I have an owner in Wisconsin who needs help with a client in Dallas. And I shared my resource with him to go do it.
Nice.
Same way, I have clients along the East Coast, and anytime they need boots on the ground help, I reach out to owners out there. If I need advices in marketing or a certain type of client, right? I have a client that needs a specific SOC 2 compliance. I know we offer those services, but I specifically myself have not done it. So I reached out to him, got all the information, the vendor contacts, everything, and I was able to go present to my client, and he even helped me along. Kind of, do what needed to happen to make that deal go through.
That's awesome.
So I love that. So I think that's what I found talking to the TeamLogic guys versus the other people. There's this whole family kind of affection between the owners. We help each other out as much as we can. I really appreciate that, especially for a new person who doesn't have business experience as such, right? I mean, back in India, my summer vacations were spent in my father's shop. That's what I did, right? But the last, 30 years that I've been in corporate America, it's corporate America. You dress up nice, you have a nice big office, right? But then you come to this business mode, things change. It's a whole different way of looking at things. And having this support structure, I think really helps.
Well, and we talk about that a lot too. It's not just picking the franchise that's going to give you the lifestyle and the income that you want, but it's also important to find that cultural fit because it's a long-term relationship. So it needs to be a good one.
Well, and I love, a lot of people kind of on the same thing we do talk about a lot, you just sharing the collaboration and the camaraderie among other franchisees. And that's a big reason why people choose a franchise, versus starting Mudar's own IT technology company.
And I tried on my own initially. What I found is, especially when you're starting off new, right, as a new businessman, like TeamLogic IT provided me a lot of training in terms of sales and marketing. They had a lot of the processes set up, so I didn't have to reinvent the wheel. They shared with me. I would talk to the other owners, tweak it to what fit best to our market in Dallas-Fort Worth. They have a whole vetted stack of software I can use, right, for my internal office use for my systems. And then also what I offer my vendor, right? So there's a whole brand recognition at TeamLogic IT. We just don't go buy anything off the shelf. They have a whole R&D department. They go ahead and test everything out in their lab, make sure the whole thing works together. It's a quality Cadillac product. And then we also have preferred pricing, right? That's value we pass down to our customers. So
well, and you pay fees for all that.
Sure.
But you weighed that against creating all those systems and software and programs and everything on your own, and you chose to pay the fees versus saving the money and doing it over here.
Absolutely. I think what this does, the whole franchising help that you get from the corporate office and your fellow owners acts as a catalyst, right? If I had done this on my own, I would have to literally reinvent the wheel and learn a lot of stuff on my own, fail a few times before I started walking and then running. And so this whole, what TeamLogic allowed me to do was, it was a catalyst. It helped me get there in 1 year where I would have been normally 4 or 5 years if I had just done the whole thing on my own.
And you admit that you were skeptical about the fees in the beginning.
Yes, I was, because it's not small amount. It's on your revenues, not on your profit, right?
Yeah.
And there will be owners who are very successful now, have kind of jokingly shared with me that, yes, you don't mind paying the fees when you're starting off and you see all the benefits. But then once you get to that multi-million-dollar revenue and you have to write that big check every month, it kind of gets heavy and you don't need that much help at that point. And I said, yeah, but you wouldn't be where you are if you had not got the help when you needed it. So that's the way I look at it. So I embraced, I think, I feel it's worth it. So that's me personally.
Yeah.
You brought up a really, really good point that you wouldn't be where you are today, or at least not as quickly without the upfront jumpstart, basically. And you yourself knew IT, but then there's a whole nother aspect when you own a business of the running the business part and client acquisition and business development. So tell us a little bit about that.
So yes, a very interesting point, Sara. So when I started off, I'm thinking 30 years of IT experience, I can do it. I know it like the back of my hand. I just know what to say, what to do. And when I went to training, they appoint a relationship manager, someone who works with you meet with him weekly, and you share your ideas, how the business is growing, and he gives you a tip. And Larry kept telling me all the time, it's not about technology. Don't focus on the technology. It's about sales. And it took me a month or so to realize that. I thought my initial month I spent all on technology. What am I going to use? This, that, trying out different products in the lab. And then it struck me that, hey, at the end of the day, you need a customer to sell all this technology to, right? And that's when I pivoted. And I turned into a salesman, and I left all the technology to the technicians in my office. And that was good advice coming from TeamLogic. Nowadays, I don't get involved. I get involved when the pricing gets discussed with the vendors, right? Because that's something I worry about. But in terms of which product is correct, I let my technicians tell me that versus me trying to do all the analysis on it. And I still bring the technology still, that knowledge still helps me. And the way it does is I don't go into the weeds now. Okay. I stay high level. I stay strategic. So when I work with my customers, I have made it a thing. Every 2 months, I have a standing 10-minute call with all my customers. It takes time, but I think it's worth it. It allows me to rekindle, establish that relationship, let them know I'm here to help them. And a lot of times things will show up. Normally, it's not broke, so they don't open a ticket or call us, but it's something nagging on them. Hey, you know what? Yeah, I was wondering, how do I start using AI, right? I see a lot of people in my office having a shadow AI, right? Using AI without any controls. And I'm just afraid they're going to put company data, Mudar. Can you help me with that, right? So I've seen that having those calls and then having what we call a technology business review. Every 6 months or so, we meet with the customers, show them the overall performance, how the systems are performing, and we talk to them about the business growth, right? So I talk strategy versus figuring out which product is right for them, or whether should I do product A or product B? I let my technicians take care of that. I work with the customer in terms of, okay, how is your business growing? What do we need to do? Your servers are reaching end of life. Have you thought about moving to the cloud, right? What's keeping you up at night, right? So I focus on how I can use IT and technology to help them grow their business. It's not something, a lot of people look at technology as a necessary evil because it doesn't work half the time, right? And they don't have the right people to make it work all the time. So I make sure that the solutions I sell them actually works for the client, right? And so I enjoy that part of it.
Wow.
And I think for a lot of IT people, that's a big aha moment. And you have the skill set for the business development and for that relationship building. And I think that's a learning curve for a lot of people with a strength in IT. So I'm glad you shared that.
Yeah. People with IT backgrounds, engineers, tend to be very technical.
Say it, nerdy.
Yeah. And you guys just love being in the weeds.
Yes.
But and I love how you put it, if I need a customer to sell all this stuff too. So you can have all that knowledge in the world, but without customers, you're not paying the bills.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Exactly.
So kind of tell us, where you are today versus how you started. I know you said it was a struggle in the beginning. Obviously, it's hard to stand up a business. So looking back, would you have done anything differently or?
So, starting is always a struggle because you're literally trying to figure out what to do, how to do it. If I were to redo this, and again, I realize I look at myself, I love to make mistakes because that's how you learn.
Yeah.
Okay. And I made a few mistakes early on. One of the mistakes was focusing on the technology and not much on sales. And if I were to redo this, the only thing I would do is not worry about the technology yet. That first couple of months that I wasted on technology, not wasted, but not needed. My technicians could have done that. I have people in my office I'm paying to do that.
Yeah.
And let them do that. And me would have pivoted. And I really tell people, actually I was advising someone called me, a friend of a friend, was thinking of doing a franchise. And my advice to him is I started networking and doing calls and all of that after I opened. If I were to redo this, I would do it a couple of months before I officially open, because there's nothing
really
stopping you
good
from
point.
doing that. Go
Really
print a
good
card,
point.
you sign on the contract. It'll be 2 or 3 months after you sign that you'll open, and you'll take your training and all of that, but nothing stopping you going door to door, handing out flyers, handing your card. And because the culture we have in TeamLogic, where we share resources. So that's one of the beauty that this model in IT that brings the franchise model is, for us, resource needs vary. There'll be a couple of weeks, very calm, just few support tickets coming in, and that's it. And then all of a sudden you have 2 clients you're onboarding. There's another client that needs the whole network upgrading. So the resource spread is very erratic. So there's days or months, a couple of months we'll need like 5 or 10 people in the office, and the others that 3 will suffice. And what this allows us to do is I can go lean on my fellow owners and say, hey, I have a busy week. I have a client that they have some network issues. The network went down or whatever. We need to go upgrade it. Can I borrow someone who has network skills who can come help me for a week? And lo and behold, with 12 offices in DFW, someone or the other says, yep, here's the guy, he'll help you. Or some technology that you don't know about, you can always find it from your resource pool there. So I think that's a big advantage. So I told my friend that, hey, even if you start, because he was like, hey, what happens if I land a client and I'm still not open? I said, if you land a client and let's say you don't have a technician, call me, call anybody in your neighborhood. I'm sure somebody's gonna loan you a couple of people that who can go help onboard that client. And I'm pretty sure TeamLogic is going to work with opening you up, moving up your open date, right? Because no one wants to let go of a client, for sure.
Well, and it's a win-win for the franchise also, because when you get your business open and bring in revenue, then that's the advantage of having them on your side, because everybody makes money.
I would have loved to have a client and revenue come in the day I open.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, so that's a fantastic tip. Are there any other tips that you might want to leave any of our listeners with? Anything that you've learned along the way?
Okay. It's not an easy journey. Okay. There are 3 values that I think define me, and I look for that in my employees and to a certain extent in my customers. What I've learned over time is just as your customers choose you, you need to be selective about who you choose, okay? Because the culture fit needs to be there. I believe in trust. I believe in passion, right? I can teach you technology. If you don't have a certain certification, you can go get that. I don't worry about that. When I interview people, my technicians, do they have a passion for helping people, doing the right thing, learning IT? Does technology turn them on, right? And then what I look for is results. You can be great, very trustworthy, very passionate about IT or helping people, but at the end of the day, you're a procrastinator, you don't deliver results, no use, right? So you got to go deliver results at the end of the day. So I look for these values. And I think every culture, every office has a different culture, and you need to figure out what your core values are. So then accordingly, that office culture, I feel, is very important because it gets it percolates down to your employees and it reflects on your clients when you meet and talk to them.
Yeah, that's the beauty of having your own business, is you get to create your own culture.
You do that, yeah. And I tell my friends from the corporate world when I talk to them on the phone, it's like, how's life running your own business? I said, I work twice as hard, but it's 4 times as more rewarding, not just financially, just overall. And you being your own boss, I can't tell you how great that feels.
I like that feeling.
Yes, we do too. And we can't imagine not being our own boss now that we've done it, even though, to your point, it's not easy.
Yeah, it's not.
The alternative is worse. Let's just put it that way.
Yes.
Working for somebody else, dealing with the politics.
And being at the mercy of the market or somebody else, right? Here I make my own destiny.
Yeah,
in a way.
absolutely.
I feel I'm in complete control of my destiny.
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, market conditions change and everything happens, but the politics is not there. And if it is there, you're the one creating
Exactly.
it. Nobody
It's your
else has to
politics.
blame,
Yeah, it's
blame
your
for
politics.
it, right? But yes, I feel that it's me. The harder I work, the more I get rewarded. And my team gets rewarded, right? And there's a whole different fun, I think, especially in the small, medium-sized. So I've worked in corporate America, right? You work with these big multi-million-dollar companies. This is my first time working with small, medium-sized businesses. And it's kind of astounding how far apart they both are in terms of technology. The technology and the technical advice that's available to these big corporations, the small businesses are really suffering from it. And you see that in all the cybersecurity attacks that are happening right now, right? All the cybersecurity breaches with small, medium-sized businesses because their systems aren't built to defend against that. But I love working with them. You get this immediate gratification when the customer is happy and like, Mudar, thank you. Right? That just means a lot, which is hard to come by in corporate America. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We definitely know what you're saying.
They take it for granted. Well,
Yeah.
and that's why there's such a need for the services that you provide, because these small businesses can't afford their own internal IT departments.
They can't.
So they need these outsourced services.
Yep.
So
And that's what I describe. When people ask me what I do, the official name is managed IT services, but half the people don't know what the hell that means.
Right.
So I just tell them, hey, I'm the outsourced IT department for small, medium-sized businesses. I take care of all your IT needs. And many of my customers that I build a relationship of trust, they come to me, hey, I need a website build. I don't have website developers on my team, but I have partners I go work with. And I said, I can make the referral for you, or I could lead the project for you. And majority of the times they're like, you just do it for me because I know you know my business. We have a relationship. And I think that's where small, medium-sized businesses are. They're built on relationships. You have to build that trust with the client and do the right. And that's only done one way. Trust is earned, never given, right? And you have to do the right thing for the client to earn their trust. And that's what I always strive for. I tell my employees too, if you make a mistake, own up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Don't try to hide it because you can only be successful so many times. Everyone makes a mistake. Just get up, dust up, fix it. Right? And tell the client, I'm sorry. And just move forward.
It's less about the mistake and more about how you resolve the mistake for
Very
most
well
people.
said. Very well said, Sarah. Right.
And we always say that people want to do business with people they know, like, and trust. So
Absolutely.
thank you so much
Yes.
for taking time out of your very, very busy schedule for us in dealing with our parking situation today. We appreciate you being here and sharing with us. So
if somebody needed your services, how would they get a hold of you?
They can Google me, but the best way is to call me at my office, 972-371-0087. And I tell this to all my prospects that you call my office, you will always get a person.
Okay.
You will not speak to some foreign help desk or a robot or a chat GPT bot. It'll always be a person.
And remind us one more time what area you cover.
I cover HEB, Euless, Bedford, and Hurst. Okay. But I have clients all over the US. So I'm limited geographically only to marketing. But through networking, friends and family relationships and referrals, I can get clients all over the US.
Got it.
Wonderful.
All right. So if you need help, you know who to call.
Absolutely.
Thank you for joining us and listening in for this episode. We appreciate you. If you would like to learn more about franchising or connect with Sara or me, please see the links in the description below. Thanks.
Bye-bye. Have a great day.